Josh K Guitar video. Josh here at your service as always. Today we're delving back into the Mick Goodrick Chord Almanac. I wanted to make this available to the guitar community because this book is it's not in print anymore, and to get a copy it's about $1,000. So until they start reprinting it or whatever, I'm going to keep doing some of these and try to demystify some of this for you. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the page. There it is. You can see closed voicings on the top 3 lines, and spread voicings on the bottom 3 lines here. We're in melodic minor, doing cycle 2s. Here's what this means. We're climbing up the chords, so C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B. We're using all of those pitches in order, but we're actually, in our voice leading, we're going to climb downwards. So you're going to notice that I'm going to start high on the neck and move lower. You can practice these in a lot of different ways. You can practice them in different octaves. You can practice them in different string sets. You can practice them just as one string. Okay, so any of those ways is a legit way to practice. You should not be distracted by the fact that I'm actually maybe not playing that way today. Make sure that you go ahead and do these for yourself in different ways, and don't use a tab, because using a tab ruins the magic. You want to learn the sound, and you want to connect your brain to the fretboard. Doing a tab destroys that process because it shows you, and then all of a sudden that information leaves our brain. So let me turn off some effects, and we'll get right to it. Now I'm going to try and practice each line in a slightly different way so that you can see some different ways that you practice this. I'd do just one day, and then maybe move on to something else the next day, because you don't want to get too repetitive with these either. Alright, so starting on C minor, we have C, E flat, G. The first way I'm going to play it is just playing straight through the chord. Okay? The reason I'm doing that is because it's probably the simplest way of playing these. Okay? So I'm going to do these like level 1, level 2, level 3. 3 lines, 3 levels. Yeah? Let me know what you think in the comments. So first line, starting with C minor, what Mick really wants to show us is the direction of each voice. So you can see root, 3rd, 5th, C, E flat, G, and those are moving downward. G moves to F, that's a whole step. E flat to D, that's a half step. C down to A, that's a minor 3rd. So he's showing you each voice's move. So that means we should get this. Okay, so starting on fret 15, 16, 17, kind of like an A minor shape. If you take the top 3 strings, if you know your cage system, right? Then to like kind of a D minor shape. It's actually exactly a D minor, just up 12 frets. And again, you can see. Okay, so we're going to continue climbing down here. We're going to have E flat, augmented. Again, everything is moving down. F down to E, D down to B. It's a little more of a jump there, right? Minor 3rd there as opposed to a 2nd. And then A down to G. Then E flat augmented, moving down to F major. So that's E flat moving to C, B to A, G to F. Then F is going to move to G. That's B, C moving to B, right? A to G, F, D. Then to A diminished. And again, you can see C to B. Sorry. Then you can again see B to A, D to C. Those are your 2 whole steps. And then that G to E flat. It's a major 3rd, so that's a 4 fret jump. And then C down to B, E down to E flat down to D, A down to F. And again, you can see that's a big 4 fret jump again. So all together, this line. Typically resolve that to a C minor. You can do this in a couple of different octaves, right? Do different string set. That would all be different ways of playing the first line, just been playing chords. And there's more that I've probably left out, so just bear that in mind. There's not enough time to do all these things. There's just too many chord voicings. So let's get to the second line now, okay? So if I were to play this line, I've now landed here. So this is G, C, E flat. Yes? This time, instead of just playing the chord, I'm going to play the arpeggio of the chord. So I'm just going to play one note at a time. This is a great way to play this if you're having trouble reaching some of these long reaches in diminished chords. It's great to just do them one note at a time so you can hear what the sound is. Maybe you can just play a segment of that diminished chord. So like this A diminished is one that people find very tricky. A, C, E flat. That's going to be right here. We're not there yet, but it's coming. Yeah? That's very tricky. It's 1, 3, 5. It's a big spread. So instead of playing that whole thing, you might just play that, or you might play this and this. And then you're not playing a full diminished chord, but you can hear that I'm playing diminished in my ideas. So I think that's a really, really great way to approach it if you're having a little trouble reaching. And then you can always reach a little further later. Anyways, that said, I'm going to play these as arpeggios so you can start to hear the melodic line moving. Okay, so we're going to start on C minor. We have G, C, E flat. And if you notice, if you just look at your pitches alone, E flat to D, E flat to D, it's going to be the same. C down to A, C down to A, G down to F, G down to F. So all those intervals are going to be the same. So I'm not going to repeat all that for right now because it takes a long time to get through this stuff, and I want to save you guys some time. So, but that said, just keep in mind that, you know, E flat is 1 fret down to F, C is 3 frets down to A, G is 2 frets down to F. That always exists if you're looking at it linearly across the fretboard. So, E flat on top, moving down to D, C to A, G, F. So I'm doing, right? Then I'm moving down. And you might notice I do this to try and stay musical. I play up, then backwards, then forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards. Right? And again, we get this like a little bit of a waltzy feel from that, but it's nice. It helps figure out where the voice leading is, and you can hear the chords as you play it, so it's a really beautiful thing. So that said, let's get back to it. So we have G, C, E flat. And I like to try, what I like to do is like learn your triad shapes, so I know like this C, that's the closest D minor, moving downward. So, because I know those two things, if I look at my voice, right, E flat, D, oh, I know this D lives inside of this triad. And I kind of, like, I go there pretty automatically instead of having to sound out every one, F, A, D. So, if you're looking for just, hey, some simple triad stuff, go to my website, musicmakerlessons.com, and you'll find all that stuff there. I have a packet full of scales and triads and seventh chords and arpeggios. I encourage all of my students to work out of that and, you know, document where you are and everything. So I encourage you as well go download it, go check it out. And if you do, ask me questions. You know what I mean? Like if you come across something that's a little weird, you know, music is weird like that. So feel free to reach out. So we have C minor, D minor, E flat augmented. You can play that here with the open strings, or you can play same voicing, no open strings. And then F, G, C, E flat, D, A, F, E flat, G, B, A, F, C, B, D, G, E flat, C, A, F, B, D, C. Okay, does that make sense? So I'm just playing the arpeggio of every single one. Bum, 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 dum, dum, dum. Bum, 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 dum, dum, dum. Upwards, downwards, upwards, and then down. Okay, so that's two ways to practice it. You can practice it as a chord, arpeggio, this last way I find to be the most rewarding because you're really examining and playing the melodic information between the change. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to play C down to A, G down to F, E flat down to D. And I'm going to do this on every single chord change. So I start with C, and since I've started down here, this is where we left off, F, B, D. I'm out of frets. Let's go ahead and just move this thing up an octave, okay? So E flat, G, C. So again, I'm analyzing the notes that change, right? So I'm doing E flat, D, G, F, C, A. So I play C, then I do the change, then I play D minor, and then I'm playing the same thing, right? D, B, F, E flat, A, G. Then I'm playing the change again. B, A, E flat, C, G, F. Then I play my F. Then I'm playing F, D, B, C, G, A. Then D, C, B, A, G, E flat. And that gives me my A diminished. C, B, A, F, E flat, D. And that gives me my B diminished. And then I'll actually voice lead that back home. D is I'm going from here to the top again, right? So D, C, F, E flat, B, G. So that's three ways that you can practice this. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So spread voicings, and we're going to do the same kind of a thing. We're going to play through, right? So that's my spread voicing for C minor. If you're not sure about this, spread voicing is just, I'm literally going to take every chord voicing that we had here and take the middle voice and scooch it up an octave. So instead of saying C, E flat, G, it's going to be C, G, and then E flat up top. Yeah? C, G, E flat, A, F, D, A, F, and then D up top. Yeah? So all of these intervallic relationships, how far things move, they're all going to stay the same. What changes is the relationship between the notes themselves in each chord. And what you'll find is that every time you change the inversion and continue with this principle, you get a different melody, and that gives you different melodic stuff to play as a lead player. It also gives you different interesting ways to comp as a rhythm player. Just infinitely helpful. So that said, we're going to start right there. C minor. We have C, G, E flat. That's root 5th, 3rd. And then again, moving downward. So that's D minor. And I'm going to do it the same way this way, right? So chords first. But then we're going to, as we continue, play some different ideas through these two, where you can use the voicings and arpeggiate, and also just use the guide tones as a way of finding melodies. So we have C, G, E flat, A, F, D. It can be a bit of a stretch, and there's multiple ways to play it. So try and find different ways to do these. Right, so D minor, E flat augmented. Right, so that's G, E flat, B, F, C, A, D, B, G, C, A, E flat, B, F, D, G, E flat, C. So that's just crossing on here to the next line. Okay? So I'm doing. Next we're going to arpeggiate, and I'm going to move up an octave because I've already run out of space here. I'm actually going to move up 2 octaves. So C, G, E flat, C. Right? And now I'm arpeggiating like I did before. So. Beautiful when they're spread out like this. Now for the third line, we're going to do just like we did on the third line above. And again, I would encourage you to play these all the way through in all 3 levels of these if you really, really want to get great on these. But that said, I'm just going to do it one at a time so you can see 3 different ways of practicing. And again, I'm going to move up because I got all the way down here. By the time I hit the end of the next line, I'm going to run out of space. So I'm just going to move it on up again. So here, starting at C minor, E flat, C, G. Then I'm playing the movement, E flat to D, C to A, G, F. Then my D minor chord, now I'm playing my movement down to E flat augmented. So D to B, G, A to G, F to E flat. Then I play my chord. Then I'm playing my movement, E flat augmented to F, B to A, G to F, E flat to C, right? Then I'm playing my movement, A to G, D to F to D, C to B. Then again the movement, G to E flat, D to C, B to A. Then the movement again, E flat to D, C to B, A to F. And then back home to C minor. So there's 3 ways of practicing your closed and spread voicings. This is not the only way to do this, so practice on one string as well if you can. Yeah? Practice different string sets, different octaves, different ways of doing this, and don't use tabs. Maybe if you want to like write out your own tabs, that would be a good way to do it, and maybe might help somebody else. But I think mostly this is for you to figure out and unlock it in your own brain. If you try to cheat with that, you're just gonna find that you're cheating yourself. So best of luck. I'm gonna go ahead and play my way out, and I will see you in the next installment.